Story 1. Golden sister got pregnant by my boyfriend and now they want me to do this?
Okay, so I, F19, was in a relationship with someone we shall call Sebastian, M20.
My twin brother Jackson, M19, introduced us and we hit it off right away. I mean, he was my type and I thought he was the total package, attractive, had the bad boy vibes. I mean, I thought life was improving for me. I mean, I was finally reunited with my siblings after being split up from being in care. I'll admit the relationship with Sebastian wasn't always healthy. He would put me down whenever I tried to better myself. He said I was always going to be that shitty teenager that no one likes. Sebastian would say the cruelest words, but he would say the sweetest things to make up for it. I thought this was it, the relationship I deserve. I know I'm rambling. I know typing it out it's obvious the relationship was toxic. I wasn't perfect either. I was possessive and borderline controlling. I just didn't want him to leave me. My relationship with my twin Jackson and my older sister Astoria, F22, wasn't perfect. My other brother Elliot theorized they were resentful of the fact I was raised by our mother until I was 14 and then I was taken into care. We are all half siblings bar Jackson and myself, but our mother wasn't an angel, she was an addict and she should never become a mother. Okay, I'm rambling again. It's just where everything went wrong with us. I just didn't expect Astoria to do this. She was my big sister. I love her, but at the same time I really feel so much anger. Okay, now on to the main story. So I just came off work. I'm on an apprenticeship to become a residential worker. I just want to give back and finally do some good. I want to be a better person, so I was exhausted and I hadn't seen my sister in about 2 weeks, so I thought I would pop into her apartment and give her a surprise, maybe order a takeout. When I went over I saw my ex-BF's car parked outside the apartment complex again. I didn't think much of it. I mean, he's a friend to all my siblings bar Elliot. So I thought they were hanging out. Imagine my disgust and horror and surprise. I was hearing sex noises, I was feeling sick, but I was trying to convince myself it was just a movie. Well, it wasn't a movie, obviously. They were doing the deed in the living room. A huge shouting match occurred between myself and my sister, and God, I was so tempted to just slap her. I was feeling so many emotions. I mean, Astoria tried saying sorry, but she fell in love with him. Sebastian didn't even look me in the eye. The flipping coward, am I right? I told her point blank that I don't have any respect for her and she reminds me of mom. She was crying. I mean, none of us wants to be compared to our mom. It's the worst insult, and she called me a bitch and saying I got everything and that I can't even support that she's finally happy. Yeah, but at my expense. Anyway, I told her to go fuck herself, and when I finally got home where Jackson is, he laid it into me, saying I took it too far, and that I know Astoria hasn't had it easy. He said the most gut-wrenching thing I have ever heard to date: you know you aren't easy to love. I honestly wanted to throw up. It's having every dark thought of yourself and being validated by the person who should always be on your side. Anyway, I'm currently in Elliot's home, and more specifically his closet. It's cramped and dark and I can just hide away and cry. I'm so heartbroken, everything. Anyway, I just want advice, how I can make Jackson see my side. Is there even a relationship to salvage with Astoria? What if we get family therapy? I don't want to lose my already short family. Does this pain ever end? I know this sounds fake. If it wasn't me, I would think it's fake as well, but it's not. God, is it bad? I miss Sebastian, but at the same time I hope everything goes wrong for him. Maybe when my heart stops hurting I can actually think how to make him hurt how I hurt. Anyway, seeing this all down on a phone screen feels a bit better, getting it all off my chest. Update. She's pregnant. I honestly didn't expect to update this so quickly because I thought things would remain stagnant since I decided I was going to go no contact with my twin brother Jackson M19 and my older sister Astoria, F21. So again, sorry for shitty grammar, I'm angrily texting this. Well, imagine my fucking surprise to find out that she's 2 months pregnant and Astoria has been sleeping with my then boyfriend Sebastian for over 6 long ass months. I'm so furious and I'm gutted, and never in my entire life do I want to wish all the horrible things to happen in my entire life. You know what the fucking nerve? Jackson said to me, this baby can be a good thing and if I want I should be the baby godmother. Do I fuck? I'm not wasting my salary on this baby, no way. Jackson also said I should apologize to them because I could make Astoria lose the baby from all this stress. Like, what about the fucking stress to my mental health? Again, I'm so sorry for swearing so much. I know Sebastian has been texting me a lot, but Elliot won't let me even look at the texts. The only good thing I got going is this kind redditor pinging me and my older brother Elliot, who has my back. I'll probably edit more things into this when my anger subsides and I can remember more things, but God, I'm so done. Who needs enemies with family like this? Update 2. Cheating ex is being a shit, literally. I just want to point out I know all my siblings and I are all close in ages because again I grew up with a shitty alcoholic and drug addicted mother who doesn't use condoms, and in case you're wondering, Elliot and Astoria is my half siblings. Jackson is my twin. This is just a bit of lore in case you're wondering why everyone ages is so close together. I honestly don't know where to start, but since the last post things were slowly cooling off. I was thinking that I could finally heal. I can take my mind off from the evil trio, aka Sebastian, Astoria and Jackson, but no, I was being optimistic for thinking along those lines. So not long after the post, myself and Elliot have been coming home to shit being smeared on the door. What type of shit are you thinking of? I mean, isn't that fucking lovely? At first, I honestly didn't think it could be them because how low and how much do you lack dignity to do this? So Elliot and I installed some cameras around the property and we watched in action dear old Sebastian taking a shit and smearing it on the door. Now obviously we did the responsible thing after freaking, gagging and again cleaning up more shit. We went to the police but they weren't all that concerned, saying he's just a boy getting over his breakup, and do I really want to ruin his life? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Elliot, the best big brother that he is, kept complaining until they finally gave my ex Sebastian a warning. Yippee. Astoria and Jackson are claiming ignorance that they didn't know Sebastian would do this, but I'm calling bullshit. So after dealing with all this stress, it turns out my new friend from work went missing. I'm just hoping she's passed out from a night out or something. But again, FML, fuck my life, fuck family, and again I know this sounds fake, but seriously, what the hell is the majority of my family on? Update on Astoria drama. I got a lot of voice messages saying I'm trying to win back Sebastian. Yeah, no, Astoria, you can keep your baby daddy. Only blessing in disguise is Jackson has been mostly silent. Mini edit. I also want to thank my new Redditor friend that I made on here who is making fun of Sebastian. The sisters post. Fall in love with my then sister's boyfriend. For some backstory, I'm the oldest of the kids on my mom's side. My dad's side is a mess which I won't get into. Me and my siblings were all in and out throughout our lives due to being in care and an overall crappy childhood. I've always felt like the lesser sibling, especially compared to my brother who was always better at school. Eventually my brother managed to make a friend. This guy was so smart in an underrated way, good with his hands, and he was popular. He even defended me from one of my foster parents, though he was always called bad news. I had a huge crush on him and even was working on building up the courage to ask him out when I realized he was taken with my sister. The two were thick as thieves. He could handle her toxic behavior. She is in therapy getting better though. She was able to keep up with how cool he is. Until my younger sister got this apprenticeship. She said it was a good thing, she would get work qualifications and money. She suddenly didn't have time for any of us anymore, saying she was tired and busy and I would understand when I get a job. I'm on benefits because I've got awful social anxiety and PTSD. Rafe was always hanging about my place since she was working every day practically. When we could talk for hours. It just made me realize all those feelings I had those years ago was more than a crush, it was love. Rafe admitted it and we have been together ever since. It's true love. I've never been happier. I mean, it's finally my turn to get rewarded by all the shit I've been through. I'm the one who truly understands Rafe, the only one who can possibly understand him is his best friend, my brother. They have a really strong bond, they would do anything for each other. I get it, I would do anything for my baby bro. He's 19 and sure he's rough around the edges, but I've done my best to protect him from people who don't actually love him, not like I do. I won't let any foster parents hurt him in any form. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Rafe and I have been together for a while now. My sister hasn't even noticed why I've been so happy recently, it's made me quite sad. When did we drift so far apart? I mean, we are starting a family together. I'm pregnant. I told my youngest brother first, albeit in the family drama, my other siblings did find out. Anyway, while my boyfriend and I were making love, my sister caught up and she was furious. She kept yelling at me. I tried to say it just happened. She can't stop love from blooming and it could be a good thing. She has been MIA ever since, really. Since being alone with just Rafe and baby bro, I've been thinking maybe I should report her to her work for her cruel behavior. Anyway, please be kind to me in the comments. I am pregnant. So Ida for falling in love with my baby's sister boyfriend. Relevant comments from a third party. Okay, Arachnid 890. Udi, you got involved in a relationship you should not have and as karma I hope you know Rafe fucked your brother. Oop replied. He wouldn't do that to me. Rafe loves me, we are in a healthy relationship. He's going to be a dad. Okay, Arachnid 890. They both got really drunk and both did that we straight thing that led to something happening. But yay, if he was willing to cheat on your sister with you, what's to stop him from cheating on you with your brother? Oop replied. No, they didn't. My brother and Rafe wouldn't do that to me. How would you even know if they did? What are you, a fucking stalker? I am getting karma, positive karma, for having my childhood. I have an amazing boyfriend, a baby on the way and a great uncle in the making. Okay Arachnid 890. They did and it's actually hilarious how I know. Also, didn't you hurt your sister and betray her for a guy? Yeah, you and all your siblings had a shitty childhood so you all deserve happiness, but you were the only one who tried to take one of your siblings' happiness, even though in the end Sebastian sucks and is basically subconsciously your dad to all three of you. You all got daddy issues, which is why you each were attracted to him, and instead of helping each other you try to tear others down. When people have gone through horrible things together you'd think they'd stick together, support each other and understand the struggles of one another, but instead you chose to be selfish. Good luck. Last update. A cheating ex got with my older sister. 8 months later. Hi, it's me. This is going to be my last update because a lot has happened and I'm wary that he could somehow find me. So I had to move because my life was in danger because of my ex-boyfriend. He took some kind of breakdown and viciously attacked my sister because she had a miscarriage. Apparently screamed if it was me, his child would still be alive. My sister is recovering in the hospital and from what I've heard won't fully recover due to the damage she has in the brain. My twin brother decided to cope with drugs and is in rehab after much convincing from my older brother and I. My older brother and I have split up. We have no contact with each other, not because we don't want to, but we are scared that if it would be easier to find us if we stayed together. For me, I lost my job as an apprentice because he went to my work and tried to break down the door. He's done a lot more fucked up shit, as from calling me from every hour. I don't want to name everything he's done because it still gives me genuine fear about how much hatred he has. The police is still looking for him, but he's made a lot of dodgy friends, which is one of the reasons we all moved. I now have a part-time job and I live in a small emergency house with some other people. I'm saving up to go live somewhere nearer to one of my newfound aunt. She says she will take me in, and she sounds really nice, so not all is bad, I guess. She even said maybe getting a dog will make me feel safer. So it's not the update you're all wishing for, so I'm sorry, but I'm sure in a couple of years' time I'll update again and my life will be even better. Story 2. Cut ties with family after narcissist Sil stole my pregnancy announcement. Now they pressuring me to take custody of premature baby. I found out that I am pregnant. I am overjoyed as I have always wanted a child of my own. I focused on my career and my life, and since I am single, I wasn't sure if having a baby would ever happen. I was excited to tell my family the big news. My older sister has one child, my nephew, 7M. My brother is married, but he and his wife have made it very clear they will always be child-free. Last night we had a family dinner and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share the news. Since this will be my only child, I wanted to make it special, and I also wanted to involve my nephew. I got a shirt that read "This is what an awesome big cousin looks like." I slipped away with my nephew before dinner and had a special moment with him while I told him he was going to have a cousin. My nephew was very excited and put on the shirt. He put his sweater on over it and I told him he could take the sweater off whenever he wanted at dinner. In the middle of dinner he took off the sweater and waited for someone to notice. Soon my sister jumped up and excitedly screamed when she saw the shirt. They all then immediately assumed it was my sister-in-law. I wasn't hurt by them assuming this, and I kind of expected it because she is married. I was hurt because my sister-in-law didn't try to correct them. She just went along with it and began to rub her flat belly while laughing. I must have looked completely hurt because my mother yelled at me to stop being rude and to congratulate them. I tried to explain that I was the one who gave my nephew the shirt. They all didn't even hear me and just continued to fawn over my sister-in-law. My brother stood frozen in shock, just asking his wife if she was serious. I got up and went home. I received multiple texts at this point from them telling me what an asshole I am for making this about me. They said things like it wasn't my sister-in-law's fault that I was jealous. I didn't reply to anything and just cried myself to sleep. This morning my sister-in-law must have finally let it slip that she is not pregnant. They have now all called me to apologize, saying that they just got caught up in the moment. They said I shouldn't have left the dinner and that it's my fault I wasn't clear enough that I was the one who is pregnant. My mom said I could have a redo dinner so I can get it right and they will all act surprised. My sister-in-law sent me a message that said that the way I chose to announce was how she wanted to do it if she ever got pregnant. She said that since she is not ever having a child, that she just wanted to experience what the moment would be like. She also said I can have my chance at the redo dinner. I told them no and that I will not be doing a redo. Every single person has now told me I am being selfish and an asshole because I won't let them make it right. To me there's no fixing this. I will eventually forgive them, but I don't want to make a second announcement so they feel better. Ida? Op was deemed not the asshole. In the comments, she mentions that her family was mad at her Sil, but also at her for not standing up for herself and saying something at dinner. Op also says her brother threw up in the bathroom after she left. Date of second post, January 24, 2021. Update. My sister-in-law stole my pregnancy announcement. This is an update to my previous IDA post about my sister-in-law stealing my pregnancy announcement. I've had many people messaging me asking for an update, so I thought posting one here seemed like a fitting place. It has been 4 months since my last post and it has been a wild ride. I am now almost 7 months pregnant and expecting a baby girl. After everything happened, I tried going low contact with my family. I didn't want to deal with their drama and chose to instead focus on my pregnancy. That didn't last long because my brother showed up at my door a few days after the dinner with his suitcase. He needed some time to work things out and I was happy to give him a place to stay while he did. My sister-in-law and other family members began calling both of us nonstop during this time. They were begging my brother to talk to his wife. Eventually she convinced him that it was all a joke that just went horribly wrong. I knew this was total bullshit and that she was lying. My brother seemed so lost and broken without her though. He went back home after staying with me for only a short time. Before he left, I talked to him everything and told him all my concerns. He said that he loves his wife and this was all just a misunderstanding. He told me I was cruel for holding a joke gone wrong against her and that we both need to get over it. I couldn't force him to listen to reason, so I just let him go. After he left, I went back on low contact with most of my family and have been much happier since. I realized after reading the comments on my previous post exactly how toxic my family is. I decided to focus on the people in my life that were truly there to support me and my baby. My parents keep trying to contact me, but it has become less frequent lately. Yesterday I received news that many of you had predicted. My sister-in-law is now pregnant. I found out when I received an invitation to her upcoming gender reveal Zoom party in my email. I haven't responded yet and I haven't heard any news from any family other than the invitation. I'm torn between laughing hysterically and crying for my brother. I truly don't know what to think. Date of third post, February 14, 2021. Update. I made a mistake and went to my Sil's gender reveal. My brother and Sil's gender reveal Zoom party took place today. For the last few weeks I had been debating on if I should attend or not. I had been doing well with being no contact with most of my family, but I couldn't seem to let go of the feeling that I was being selfish and not supportive of my brother. So I decided to reach out and talk. I think I decided this mainly out of curiosity but also loneliness. It's hard being pregnant, alone and stuck in lockdown. I reached out to them online. My brother and his wife are definitely pregnant. They started to try shortly after he returned home from staying with me. My Sil told me that my brother changed his mind about having children after a long talk they had about their future. I personally think there is more to this story, but I don't have all the details on this yet. They did tell me that they were sorry about what happened with my pregnancy announcement. My brother asked me if we would all just move forward and if I would come to reveal their gender. I agreed and decided to let it go. I also started to speak with my parents again. My parents did not apologize for their part in what happened at my pregnancy announcement. They didn't even really acknowledge that anything had happened at all between us at all. They don't ask me much about my pregnancy or my baby. They have only been interested enough to ask 2 questions. They asked what my child's last name will be since I'm a single mother and what the gender is. I told them I will not be sharing the gender of my baby until the birth. Today was the gender reveal Zoom party. We were instructed to wear blue or pink depending on what we thought the gender would be. I chose to wear pink since the only dress I own that fits me right now happens to be pink. As all the attendees logged onto the Zoom call, everything seemed to be going rather well. My parents were in head-to-toe blue and said it was because they are excited that my brother is finally carrying on the family name. My Sil and brother were dressed opposite in all pink. Everyone seemed happy and ready to celebrate. My sister-in-law had chosen to pop a large balloon filled with confetti that will reveal the gender. She popped the balloon and out came a cloud of blue confetti. My parents began to cry and cheer at the announcement. My brother and everyone else was smiling and clapping. My Sil, on the other hand, was not. The next few moments were filled with all of the guests say their congratulations. My Sil stayed perfectly silent throughout all of it. She seemed somewhat emotionless until I piped up to say my congratulations. I had said to them both, "Congratulations on your little boy. His cousin can't wait to meet him." My Sil went insane. She began screaming that I was trying to steal the spotlight away from her by mentioning my baby. She said that I was being jealous and petty over my birth announcement disaster. She then asked me, "What are you effing anyway?" She demanded to know the gender of my baby and began asking if it's a girl. She then said that I must be having a girl since I'm wearing a pink dress. My parents and other family members did little to stop my sills from melting down. I chose not to fight with her or to try to reason with her. I just exited the call and let it go. I don't know what my sil's problem is or why she is behaving this way. I don't care, and I'm not going to let things like this bother me anymore. It was a bad idea to break no contact. Date of 4th post, March 24, 2021. Update. My sil broke into my Amazon account to find out the gender of my baby. I have posted here a few times before. I apologize for this rant, but I just need to get it off my chest. I wish I could say that things have calmed down since my last post. Unfortunately, my sister-in-law's drama just seems to progressively get worse. My sister-in-law found out that I am expecting a girl about 2 weeks ago. She found the gender by logging into my Amazon account without my permission and looked through my private lists. I had given my brother the login information for my Prime account so that he could watch a show he wanted to see. I had not expected her to log in to the main account and view my private wish list/past orders. I was extremely hurt and devastated that she went this far. She took another special moment from me because she went ahead and told the rest of my family the gender. She seems proud of herself for doing this and thinks she is justified because I was keeping secrets. She actually thinks that this is a funny story and blames pregnancy brain for any of her poor behavior. I finally snapped and told her what she did was appalling and deeply troubling. I told her that she has ruined every major moment in my pregnancy and that I cannot believe that she is proud of it. I told her she should be ashamed of herself and that I am embarrassed for her. I told that at this point I won't be allowing my daughter calling her aunt because she doesn't deserve it. She had a meltdown after this and accused me of trying to get her to miscarry. She says this kind of thing a lot. My brother and other family members tried to jump in to defend her, but I made it clear that I will remove them from my life as well if they continue to defend her. They have since shut their mouths and begun to agree with me. My sil gave me a half-hearted apology and said they would need to make up for the sake of the kids. I do want to be a part of my new baby nephew's life, so I do feel a bit stuck in this situation. I agreed to just let it go and try to move on. I made it clear to her and everyone else that they are on very thin ice. Since everyone now knows that I am having a girl, I have refused to tell anyone the name that I intend to give my daughter. I want to at least keep that part for me to announce when I have my child. I haven't even really written it down because I fear someone will find out. My sil has asked me many times, but I just tell her that I haven't decided yet. This last week she started sending me girls' names that she is calling dibs on. I reminded her that she is having a boy, but she seems to be in denial about the fact. She likes to say that we won't really know the genders for certain until the babies are born. Most of the names are ones I have no interest in as we have very different styles. She sends me about 4 to 5 names off her list each day. I generally just ignore her, but yesterday she sent the name that I will be naming my daughter. The name is my late great-grandmother's name and I have wanted to use the name since I was a teenager. I won't be changing my mind about naming my daughter this name. I will be announcing it once she is born. I don't care if this starts a war, as this is the hill that I am willing to die on. I know this is just going to cause an issue when I share her name. At least I have time to prepare for her meltdown this time. I want to be a part of my brother and nephew's lives, but I'm starting to see that it's just not worth it. Date of 5th post, May 10, 2021. Update. My sil stole my pregnancy announcement. My little girl is finally here and doing very well. She is so beautiful and is more amazing than anything that I could have ever imagined. She is a handful already, but I am loving every second of it. You will all be happy to know that I did not allow my sil to bully me into picking another name. My daughter is named after my great-grandmother and it fits her perfectly. I announced my daughter's birth and her name in a message to my family while I was in the hospital. My sil wasn't happy about my name choice. She was even angrier when she heard the nickname I chose for my daughter. It's a shortened version of her name that was also listed on sil's dibs list. She posted on social media about my daughter's birth, and in the announcement she referred to my baby by a different name. She says that it's her own special nickname for my daughter. Think something like if her name was Grace, she decided to nickname her something like Gilly. It's very weird and doesn't even resemble my child's name at all. I told her immediately to stop and to call my daughter by her proper name or the nickname that I chose. I knew she was only doing it to bother me and that getting upset would just encourage her more. She stopped for a short time but never removed her social media post. I had my family over to meet the baby a week after I came home from the hospital. That's when Sil started up with her games again. She purchased a bear for my daughter with Gilly embroidered across it. After opening that stupid bear, my family members laughed and told me to stop being so controlling. They told me to get over it and that Sil's nickname is cute. They too started to use the Gilly name. I felt like I couldn't even name my own baby and they thought I should just be okay with it. I realized then that none of them were ever going to change how they treat me. I saw that what I was allowing to happen was just as bad as what they were doing. I was allowing myself to be belittled, hurt and used time and time again. The family members who did nothing are just as bad in my opinion because they've never even tried to defend me. I've put up with a lot from my family in the past. I have had to get over so many past issue and pain because I pushed past it in the name of family. Now this was all happening again, but this time it was in front of my daughter. What if they started treating my daughter the same way when she is older? I threw the bear in the garbage in front of them and told them all to leave my house. They are all just as bad as Sil in my opinion. I couldn't bring myself to yell or scream, but I stood firm. I removed my daughter from my mother's arms and showed them all the door. There was a lot of name calling, but I stood my ground. I'm done. I haven't spoken to them since. They haven't even tried to contact me. I intend to write a letter or something to them to say everything I feel. I feel like I need that closure. I intend to go no contact with all of them from now on. I have spoken to my boss and there's an opportunity for me to move out east to work in a new branch of the company. I intend to accept the new role and move during my mat leave. My plans are not final yet, but I believe that a fresh start in a new place could be just the thing I need. I need to do what is best for myself and my daughter. Regardless of family or anything, I am extremely happy right now. My daughter is the greatest little baby imaginable. I am so overjoyed to be her mother. Thank you to everyone for all the help and support I received on here. I am extremely grateful for all the advice and kindness that I received, but I hope that I never have the need to post on here in the future. Thank you everyone and I wish you all the best. Notable comment. Thank you. I think that's what did it for me. Seeing my daughter in my mother's arms as they all mocked me. I realized I can't allow her to grow up in that. I think the move is going to be a great thing for us. Stop reading here if you want to imagine a positive outcome for OP. Date of 6th, and final, post, July 21, 2021. Update. I got sucked back into my family's madness. I was hoping that the last time I posted on here would be my final time, but sadly I'm back here again looking for advice again. Recently my brother was able to get into contact with me by calling from a different phone. He said my Sil had experienced some serious complications and was forced to delivery earlier than expected. My nephew is experiencing some health issues due to being a preemie and some other concerns. He is currently in the NICU at the hospital. My Sil left my brother shortly after the birth of my nephew. She never returned home after being released from the hospital. My brother tells me my Sil said she didn't want to be my nephew's mother and this was all too much for her. He has not heard from her since. My brother is now calling me and begging for help. My other family members are supporting but not actually helping him in any way that matters. They all seem to think it's a wonderful idea that I just take the baby since I am already on maternity leave. I really do not know how to even process all this or how they can even ask this of me after everything that happened. I'm torn between unimaginable anger but also concern for my nephew. I'm sorry to break down here but I'm scared and I don't know what to do. In the comments, OP mentions that her brother has been sending her pictures of her nephew, and she wouldn't consider taking him unless she had full legal custody. She also says her mother apologized but didn't want to upset Sil because she was pregnant, which OP writes doesn't make sense because she was pregnant too. OP also writes that her brother will be a terrible parent, her own parents will likely take the nephew in if she doesn't, and she worries about them raising him too. Story 3, I'm going to ruin his life, before versus after. I have been with him for 3 years now. We planned on getting married when our lives settled down. I wanted to start a family with him, I loved him more than anyone else in this world. I've sacrificed so much for him, moved away from my home, turned down jobs so I could stay with him, and stood by his side as he started to go back to school. I gave him my world. And he cheats on me. I found out over a month ago. The scumbag got cocky, and I found out he was cheating on me, with 2 different women. One is a TA at his university, the other his best friend's girlfriend. I am livid. I write this post choking back venom. I loved him so much. He was my world, but now he will be the world I burned to nothing but ash. I pay for everything since he quit his job last year to go to school. I was more than happy to help him, I make enough to support us both. The only upside is the student loans are in his name with no connection to me. It will hurt to push the scumbag out to sea, but I will survive. I have held out for a month, enough time to create what I call the day his world burns. Tomorrow we are hosting a party. I arranged for his family to come, but my family will sadly not be able to make it. I have packed everything valuable already, and the suitcase is in the back of my car. My brother will come during the event tomorrow, To take the car that is in my name that the dirtbag drives to my parents' house. The joint account, which is all my money anyway, is already empty. The event will be great, and he thinks it's for us to announce our engagement to his family. What will happen in reality is I will announce my departure from his life. I have already taken a job out of state, and have lined up a new place to live. I will start by telling everyone what he is into. The screenshots of him asking his friend's girlfriend to piss on him, and the many other fantasies his degenerate mind came up with will be passed around. I will hand him the notice to vacate, as I have already broken our lease. We need to be out by the end of the month. I will then end off by informing him I have already reported he was sleeping with the TA for one of his classes the previous semester to the university and that I am sad I won't see the fallout from that. His friend also has a message for him that I will deliver, informing him that his friend group never wants to see him again as well. And with that, I will leave. I will not look back. I will set his life on fire and walk away. Relevant comments. OP responds to comments saying to just leave and tape the picture to the fridge. The truth hurts, more so because what you say is 100% true. He is not worth it. He is a cheating scumbag who ruined my life. The sooner I cut him off the better. But, I lost everything the night I found out he was cheating on me. A piece of me died that night. Maybe I'm terrible, but thinking of just walking away without making him lose everything that he took from me, it kills me inside. Update. Yesterday, I was supposed to ruin his life. They say that hubris is the downfall of man. Yesterday, I planned to ruin his life in front of his entire family. I worked for a month to create the scenario that would cut him the deepest. I had patiently waited for the chance to storm out of his world in a blaze of glory. And then I hit the front page of Reddit. I realized I had fucked up when he was not answering my texts and had not shown up hours after he told me he would be home. I had hoped it was a happy accident, literally a car killing him before I had the chance. But no. I don't know how many men in the world are currently cheating on their soon-to-be fiancé with their best friend's girlfriend and a TA. However, the one who mattered in my plan found my Reddit post. I called his mother and found out that he had run home to his parents. He told them we had a fight and that we were probably through. I was, and still am livid at myself. His mother asked me what had happened as he left out a few details. So I decided to tell her that he was cheating on me with a TA and his friend's girlfriend. I soon heard shouting, before she hung up. I texted my ex that he had until morning to return my fucking car before I reported it stolen and sent the screenshots of all his texts to his parents and siblings. My car was sitting in my driveway when I woke up. I contemplated sending the screenshots anyway, but his mother sent me a heartfelt text yesterday apologizing for her son's actions, and I feel they deserve to be spared from his degenerate actions. My father and I will be moving all my stuff today, and I won't be coming back after that. I know you'll be reading this, you cheating fuck. You're a cowardly piece of shit. Just know I am not above sending out all the screenshots if you ever dare to come back into my life. Oh, and your ex-friends all know about your piss and scat fetish. I can't control what they do with that information, so good luck with that. Let's dive into the second story. Story 2. How do I tell my daughter that her big sister is her biological mom? So me, 53M, and my wife Rose, 53F, had our older daughter Sarah, 31F, when we were 22. We were young and broke, but managed, and now we raised Sarah the best we could. She got pregnant at 15. It was a very depressing time for her. She had to go to therapy, and never told us anything about the father, which always upset her, so we never pushed the issue. She originally wanted to terminate, but kept canceling, and eventually told us she wanted to give her up for adoption. But 5 months into the pregnancy, when she was discussing with a social worker for a couple to adopt, the couple dropped out of the adoption. After trying to find more couples, Sarah asked us if we wanted to adopt. Me and Rose were both 38 at this point, and we had both been discussing having another child, so we ended up adopting our daughter Ellie when Sarah had her at 16. 2 years after Ellie, me and my wife had our son Logan, 13, biologically. Growing up, we always planned on telling Ellie she was adopted, but we knew with telling her that, we had to tell her Sarah was her bio mother. Sarah never became close with Ellie, not even as C-tears. She moved out after the birth and lived with Rose's sister. She has always shown sisterly love to her Logan, but never towards Ellie. There have always been conflicting feelings with Sarah. I have seen posts on Sarah's Instagram where she posted a picture of what was supposed to be the 5 of us, but Ellie was cut out. I confronted her about this and she says it's too painful. However, a couple years ago she showed up drunk begging us to let us see her daughter. We talked to her and let her stay but did not let her near Ellie since she was drunk. We found out from her husband she had suffered several miscarriages and was told to consider a surrogate. She ended up doing that 4 years ago and has since had twins Jack and Jill, 3M and F, who are biologically hers. Ellie has loved being an aunt to the twins, and Sarah has encouraged this with Ellie, and has been inviting Ellie over to her house for family time with Logan, who loves being an uncle. We have asked Sarah that in light of the twins, and Ellie being close to them, wouldn't it be time to tell Ellie the truth, but Sarah keeps claiming she is not ready. Recently Ellie came to us and has told us she is pregnant. This time it is a completely different situation. We have met the father, he is a childhood friend of hers, and they decided they wanted to lose their virginities to each other. We had the talk with Ellie long ago, as we did with Sarah. We approached the situation calmly and have since met with the father and his parents. Ellie is insistent on keeping the baby. She is 3 months along. We have not told Sarah yet, we do not know how to approach the situation, we don't know how she will be able to take it. Me and my wife are considering telling Ellie the truth, but we need Sarah to be there. Relevant comments from Oop. Haunted Oo. Did you ever consider Sarah was raped and that's why she never told you about the father, wanted to terminate, and is incredibly distant from her daughter because she is the offspring of a rapist? Just a passing thought. OP. Yes, she has never said anything, but we've always suspected that is what happened. Her therapist would be the only person who knows, but whatever is said stays between them. Lion Avon, please discuss contraception with your son if you haven't already. Also, why is her being pregnant a nudge to tell her she is your other daughter's biological child? Wouldn't that be a bit much just this second? OP. Yeah, we might hold off on telling her, but at the same time we don't know how Sarah will react finding out Ellie is pregnant. We have had the talk with all 3 of our children about contraception. They didn't want to use protection the first time, and thought being careful would not risk pregnancy. Transportation Fund 219. I did think this straight away, wonder what will happen when one of them does off-the-shelf DNA test, probably will happen at some point. OP. I would not do a DNA test without Ellie knowing anything, because if Sarah was assaulted I would not want him around Ellie. Update. So I decided to write in an update as I'm still getting messages on this account. First I want to address the main issue. I was wondering about advice on what to do after finding out that my daughter Ellie 15 is pregnant, but that we had the exact same situation with her older sister Sarah 31, who is actually Ellie's biological mother. Well, I decided to just focus on helping out Ellie, who is 4 months pregnant. We didn't want to stress her out by telling her about the adoption yet. In fact, we know we should have already told her a long time ago. Despite Sarah's emotions on the matter, it's not like we even knew the details on Ellie's father, so that would have been Sarah's talk, but we as Ellie's parents still should have told her the truth when she was younger. A week after I made the post, Ellie told my family about the pregnancy. She had since told my parents, her boyfriend's grandparents, and then of course, she had told Sarah. Sarah didn't react well, but told her she would support her. Of course Sarah reached out to us after, very upset, but said she was ready to talk to Ellie, first about the adoption with us, and she said that she wanted to tell Ellie about her father alone. We sat down and had the discussion. Ellie was of course upset, but calmed down after a while. She of course had questions about her father. Sarah had that discussion with her. At the time I didn't know what she was told, and it was none of our business, but Ellie told us she knows who he is, and said she didn't want to reach out, so we moved on after that. The other day I got a call from my sister-in-law Renee, 31F, my brother's wife. She was angry and was asking what kind of sick ideas Sarah was putting in Ellie's head. She started mentioning stuff about Ellie's adoption, so after I got her to calm down she told me what happened. She claimed that Ellie had messaged my brother Ethan, 32, and told him about the adoption and wanted to talk to him. This confused me because me and Ethan don't talk much. We were never really close because we are 21 years apart. He was my mother's late child and he always got along with mine and our sister's kids as they were all around the same age, and Ellie only saw him on the holidays, so telling him about the details in her life didn't make sense. Renee explained to me that Ellie claimed that Ethan was her father because that is what Sarah had told her and told him that he was going to be a grandpa. I had to sit down for a while. I called Sarah and we had a long conversation. She told me that yes, it was true that Ethan is Ellie's biological father. Sarah and Ethan were close when they were young, they were only 8 months apart. Sarah says that when they went through puberty feelings changed and that every time she went to her grandmother's they would hide away from everyone and have their own time. Sarah was upset talking about this but told me that he never assaulted her and that it was always consensual. She never wanted to tell me because she was ashamed of the fact that the father of her baby was her uncle. I have since talked to Ethan as well. He denied it to Ellie over text but told me that it was true. We exchanged a few words back and forth. Even if this was consensual, how could he sleep with his own niece? He had all these but I wasn't hearing it. He knew of the pregnancy and being Ellie's father the whole time, and he never even bothered to step up to say anything. I have talked to Ellie about it. She says she was upset when she found out, but she always thought she looked like my stepdad's side of the family. It upset me when she mentioned that because honestly I see it, it's pretty obvious now. I always knew that Ellie favored whoever her father was because she didn't look like anyone on our side, but I never suspected Ethan. My mother and stepdad have found out and Ethan told Renee it was true. She has left with their kids to stay with her family. Ethan has tried to reach out to Ellie now but I don't want her speaking to him. I'm still her father and I don't think she is safe being in touch with him. Ellie has shown no interest in talking. I asked her why she reached out to him before talking to Sarah or us about it, and she said she just wanted to know his side of the story, but feels betrayed for being lied to. Relevant comments. Commentator asks about family tree to clarify up relationships. OP, I apologize, the reason I was so specific about it is cause it's the reason we have always been distant. My father died when I was 20, and we were all devastated. My mother was as well, but then told us months after my father died she was pregnant by a coworker. They married 3 months before Ethan was born. Although we are distant, I'm the closest sibling who communicates. None of my sisters have anything to do with him. Gracie, Sarah should have fessed up at the start. Did Ethan know Ellie was his when she was adopted? Surely it was no surprise. How could he go 15 years living a lie? Sarah too. This is so messed up. OP, Ethan knew about being the father of Sarah's baby. He wanted Sarah to abort, which is why she wanted to abort in the beginning, but she decided on adoption. Crypto_gambler 952, maybe it's time that your older daughter do for her daughter what you did for her. OP, Ellie and her boyfriend fully intend on raising this baby as their own, with the support of me and my wife and his parents. Story 4. Father got my sister 14 pregnant and friends and sister wants to keep the baby. Status CO. My sister, 14, is pregnant and wouldn't tell me who the father is. We have not told our father at all. She finally broke down and told me our father has been raping her for the last 4 years. I absolutely believed her because it was happening to me too. Our parents divorced when I, 17, was 3 years old and we haven't seen my mom at all. We were always told she was deep into drugs, but my father is really manipulating, so I'm wondering if that's true now. We are wondering what happens if she admits to the doctor that our father is the father of her child. I'm assuming they can DNA test it to prove it eventually. If he goes to jail as our only caregiver, what happens to us? I know he's a piece of shit, but I don't know where else we can go. Also, can she keep the baby? She really wants to right now, but I can't imagine that is healthy and I don't know how she would take care of it with our father in jail. Will the hospital take it away because it's incest? The other part of this legal question is about the news. I made the mistake of confiding the whole thing to a friend, who told her mom. Her mom won't stop contacting me because she's going to the news because the community needs to know what he did to you guys. Neither of us have any desire for this to get in the news. I feel like if we get identified it will just further ruin our lives. I've told her this so many times but she keeps pushing me to do an interview with the local news. I've never liked her. I think she's crazy and manipulative too and just wants to be in the spotlight for a few minutes of fame for being our rescuer. How do I make her stop legally? Can I legally force the local news to not do a piece on us? Update. A lot has happened since I posted. I talked with my sister for a long time over the next week and she eventually agreed to talking to an adult at school. I went with her to talk to a teacher she was close with. After a lot of crying together she called the police and our school counselor and principal. They basically didn't let us go home that day from school. We ended up getting a caseworker and the parents of my sister's best friend, not the mom who was constantly harassing us about going public, took us in temporarily. We are currently still with them. The police visited my dad who won't admit to raping me or my sister, but they found a ton of child porn on his computer and other things they wouldn't tell us about. He has been arrested for child porn. Unfortunately, that did make the news and everyone knows. It's extremely embarrassing and stressful to have people judge you all the time. People wouldn't shut up about it for like 2 weeks. My sister moved to a different school that helps with troubled kids in special situations while she is pregnant. We are hoping she can go back after she has the baby and continue at her first school. Ideally. She and I both have gone through a lot of counseling and she is okay giving up the child for adoption now. Our caseworker and counselor are both really great about this whole thing. Mom is still not in the picture. I fully plan on changing my name to my mom's maiden name and so does my sister. My caseworker says that's completely possible for us to do. Thanks for that advice on Reddit, I got that from here. Anyway, thanks for the advice. It helped me talk her into how serious it was. Note, there hasn't been an update since 4 years ago. Let's dive into the second story. Story 2. Ruined my friend's whole life after threatening me with revenge porn. My very good friend made some slightly dumb mistakes and sent some pictures to someone that she reasonably thought she could trust, but not knowing much more than his first name, his screen name, and roughly where he lived and the type of work he did. He is not in our country but had indicated that he would be traveling for work to near us shortly, and they had made some plans to meet. And when she got some red flags and backed out, the dude threatened to publish these pictures online. I am, incidentally, an attorney. So, some searching later, and gathering up any pictures he sent her of him that could possibly identify him, his online handle led me to a TikTok page, which led me to an Instagram page with his name on it. That led to a LinkedIn page with his place of work that matched a picture he sent with a branded polo he was wearing. Some more searching got me the email of the CEO, VP of HR, Operations Manager, and Public Relations Manager. I just fired off an email on behalf of my client of the screenshots of him threatening revenge porn, snippets of the conversation showing that username while he sent that exact picture of him wearing his company's branded apparel, links to how I know it's him, along with pictures he sent her of his motorcycle with the license plate showing, as further proof it is him. I also included screenshots of him discussing a workplace incident that were time-stamped, along with pieces of dialogue discussing how he had sex with an ex at his place of work, and discussing plans to have sex with her in his office as well. I also included a picture he sent her showing his work laptop with his entire Outlook calendar, along with proprietary information, which he sent to prove he was busy, along with other pictures he took of his workplace with non-consenting employees. I further informed his employer that I will be forwarding all this information to them, law enforcement, and since he had indicated that he would be traveling to the United States soon, we'll also forward this to the local office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation since my client is a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, these threats constituted a federal crime. So that should they continue with his employment, and continue with their plans to send him to the United States for work, I will ensure, on behalf of my client, that federal law enforcement is waiting for him on arrival. Which I will do, as one of the assistant U.S. attorneys for this region is a law school buddy of mine. Since I have his license plate I know where he lives, and will be contacting his local authorities tomorrow. You dumb motherfucker thinking you were hiding around anonymity thinking you could threaten my friend? It took me 45 minutes to destroy your life. Relevant comments. There are a lot of people with law opinions, so I tried to find ones that fit the big picture. This is fake because it's not a federal crime. Revenge porn is indeed not a federal crime, you are absolutely correct. International extortion, however, is. While federal law does not explicitly make revenge porn a federal crime, a foreign national extorting a U.S. citizen with threats of violating a state law, when such threat is transmitted across state borders, is absolutely a federal crime. It's 18 U.S.C. Section 875 if you're interested. Edit, correction. I had inadvertently cited Section 873. It is in fact Section 875. Another lawyer chimes in with a long post but TLDR. Oop, causing corporate counsel a very bad day was kinda the goal. Appreciate the added context. I know exceedingly little about immigration law. Believability. So here's the thing. You are totally justifiable in being skeptical. Anyone can say anything. In this case, the story and all elements in it are factual. And slight correction. The cited section of the U.S. Code doesn't deal with kidnapping. It deals with interstate communications. Paragraphs A through C deal with ransom, kidnapping, and threats to kidnap. Paragraph D deals with threats to reputation. The section deals with criminal interstate communications. Not kidnapping only. But yes, I admit, I meant 5, I typed 3. Minor typo, major change. As for my post history. Well, I'm not actually paid to give legal advice here. This is largely my mess around account where I talk about video games and an AI related side gig I do. Though there's some scattered posts here and there that make reference to it. If it's a lie, it's a long con. Typos. It's a running joke that my spelling and grammar are embarrassingly atrocious. It's why I have someone who proofreads all my stuff. Why did you create a client relationship with someone you know? Seuss and hard to stay ethical. You're absolutely correct. It very much does. And the content of the conversation I had with my friend about exactly what I would do for her in the context of this is not part of this post. Nor would I even be allowed to share them without permission, as it would violate privilege. I am very careful, and I am well aware of the duties and responsibilities it entails. That was a conversation I had between her and myself. The content of that conversation is not subject to nor relevant to this. Ultimately, well, true, but I am incidentally a labor law attorney and know exactly what to say to get corporate types running scared. Here's your employee photographing other people in the workplace and sharing pictures of the content of his work laptop is a bad look. And that's where I'm getting started. Tomorrow, if I don't hear back, I go to, so you gonna do something about this, or do I take this to your social media pages? I already have proof it's him. If he loses his job, he might post the pictures. So, yes. Quite possibly. I brought this up to her. Her response is she's not terribly concerned if that happens. The pictures, from my understanding, were not terribly identifiable, nor majorly risque. She is not largely concerned with it happening. What angered her was the hubris and gall of it. Him thinking he could make these threats without consequences or reprisals. She's not terribly concerned if he does it. She wants him to know she knows who he is. One more regarding that. Commenter, just a thought here. Since they're getting the consequences of actions they only threaten to do, now they have no reason not to do those actions. There's no reason for them not to share your friend's nudes now. BC, there's nothing to lose. I would have considered stacking the evidence for revenge like you did, but then holding it over their head instead of pulling the trigger so soon. Just my thoughts though. I disagree with that fundamental premise. There's a lot to lose. Years of his life to lose. Revenge porn isn't just some bad things to do, it's a crime, and while threatening it is bad, doing it is worse and carries a much harsher sentence. To the same extent any prison is a deterrent to any criminal conduct. There's still very much to lose here. Blackmailers and extorters plan on this logic. They get off on putting their victims in that situation. They get off on the fear and anguish. At a certain point, one may decide to stand up and go, I know who you are. I've already hurt you. I am capable of hurting you even deeper if you follow through with that threat and accept that they might, and act accordingly if they do. She's okay with that and has made peace with the possibility. I stand by to help her pursue the next level should it come to that. Also, since they're getting the consequences of actions they only threaten to do. No, he's getting the consequences of his threat. That's a subtle but important distinction. Threatening to carry out revenge porn is itself a crime. This is not he's getting his life fucked for something he didn't do. What he did do is already a crime. That's the point here. Threatening it is, in and of itself, a crime. You're in love with her. In a platonic sense, in that she's a very near and dear friend? Sure. In a romantic sense? Nah, I'm quite thoroughly partnered and very much not single. Update posted, next day. Barely 12 hours later. Before I get into the update though, I want to clarify a few things from my original post, primarily about the contact of the employer, and why. Some questioned its truthfulness. While the entire story is true, some details were omitted for various reasons. There was more I had in our possession that did positively identify this individual. So, would a lawyer contact his employer, like some states would not be done? Depends. I did not do what I did on behalf of a client who retained me. I did it as a friend to help a friend. And as her friend who is also a labor and employment law attorney, I knew exactly how to squeeze this. And here's the thing. I was absolutely aware, from the onset, that the revenge porn threat would go nowhere with his employer. Even if I could clearly lay out how the person with this screen name was in fact this person who works at this company, all we had were screenshots. If it was just the revenge porn threat, any employer would go, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention, but even if we accept our employee uses this screen name, and we neither confirm nor deny anyone of that name works here, we have no provenance on this, this is just an alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation that could be easily edited and manipulated. Please feel free to pursue this with local authorities, and rest assured, should we be asked to, we will cooperate fully with any law enforcement inquiry, but we have no further comment at this time. And I know that's what they would say, because that's exactly what I would say. An alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation that was allegedly sent under an alleged username that is allegedly one of our employees? Whatever, dude, call the cops if you're worried about it, we'll answer them honestly if they come to us. The issue wasn't the revenge porn threat. It was the picture of the contents of the work laptop. Because that can't be faked. There's no way for her or me to create a false image of the actual proprietary information on his work computer unless he sent it. There's no way for me or her to have possession of images taken of his coworkers without their consent unless he sent them. The proof here wasn't that this person broke the law. It's that he sent pictures of company employees and property which would absolutely be verifiable by their IT department that yes, this is absolutely his laptop. That's what would get him fired. So I advised my friend not to block him, To sit back and wait and not respond to anything but let him dig himself in deeper. And he did respond. Update, same post, 1 hour later. He's been fired. So, with now definitive proof that the individual in the online conversation is in fact this person, we'll forward it all to the local authorities in his country, along with his license plate number. They're more than capable of getting his home address. Relevant comments. How did he respond? A lot of how could you, and I didn't mean it and I didn't even do anything. Commenter, I can't believe people didn't understand the proof you sent to the company. As soon as I saw that he sent pics of company property and employees, I knew he was fired. Oop, I admit I was a little confused by the whole no lawyer would ever do that. Seriously? You hurt a friend and hand me a way to fuck with you? And you think I won't press that button as hard as I can? What is it you people think we do? Commenter, I can 100% believe this. One of my best friends from college is an attorney. He's basically Bruce Banner. You do not want to make him angry. This is literally something I can see him doing with a huge smile on his face. Oop, I am amused overall with people being like that's not what an attorney would do. Send an email? Dude. That's the first thing we do 90% of the time. Commenter, and 75% of that 90%, you need take no further action. Oop, absolutely. 1. This is what happened. 2. This is what I expect you to do about it. 3. This is what I'm going to do if you don't. Option 3 is going to be way more unpleasant for you than option 2. So strongly consider option 2. Or I'm going to make that decision for you and you are not going to like that. The vast majority of the work that lawyers do is just sending an email, discussing options, and coming to a mutually acceptable outcome. Most times a strongly worded email from a lawyer is enough to get the outcome wanted. That's most of what we do. Commenter, like I could kinda understand if maybe it was just a client, but this is a friend and he like handed it to you on a silver platter. How can you say no to that? I'm not entirely sure what people think lawyers do cause this seems par the course for me lol. Oop, yeah like. I never said I was a criminal attorney. Or even a civil tort attorney. What I am is a labor and employment law enforcement attorney for the government. Which means I know exactly how to make a company squirm. I am absolutely and deeply aware that nothing I had was evidence enough for a criminal case. It didn't need to be. I'm not law enforcement. But I knew exactly what I was holding on to and exactly how to make sure his employer knew there was no way this ended with him having a job. Because that's what I do. And I had enough to make it very, very clear to them that this ended in one way. One more long comment from Oop about what being a lawyer is and how media has warped it. Well, that's sort of the thing. I was absolutely acting as her lawyer. But I was doing so in a way that actual lawyers do, and not what people think lawyers do. Most of what lawyers do isn't courtroom theatrics. At the end of the day, a lawyer is basically a professional very bad day threat. The sad reality is most people, even those with legitimate grievances and reasonable expectations, will be bullied, ignored, attacked and harassed for trying to get their legitimate grievances resolved, because it's easier and cheaper to do that to those who have no resources to fight back. Because let's say you do harm to someone and cost them $10,000 in damages and they come to you telling you they want their $10,000 in damages. When you know they don't have the knowledge or resources to fight you on this, it's a sound financial move to just go no. What are you gonna do about it? Us. We're what they do about it. And 90% of what lawyers do is just be the lawyer has entered the chat guy. Because, again, we're really good at giving someone a very bad day. In a very okay, I'm going to give you 2 options. Option 1 is you sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, listen to what I'm going to tell you, then do what I tell you to do. What's option 2, you ask? Well, this? All this? This is me being nice. Option 2 is I start being way less nice. So be a good little boy, and do what you're told, or I go with option 2. And when I'm done with option 2, you're going to think back on this moment and really I wish you went with option 1. Because I assure you, as much as option 1 is going to hurt, option 2 is going to really hurt. Or maybe it won't. Maybe you'll get lucky. Roll those dice if you really want to, but don't say I didn't warn you. Because, as a reminder, I'm being nice right now. This is nice of me nice. You have 5 minutes to pick option 1 or I pick option 2 for you. Tick-tock sort of way. So I was absolutely acting as a lawyer here. I was just doing what most lawyer work actually is. Which is really just explaining here's what you need to do to avoid having a very bad day. Story 5. Breaking up with my pregnant girlfriend because I don't want to be a father. I finally told her I am done. It's tough. I'm 25 and never thought I'd be in this spot. I tried to be careful, using protection, but now she's pregnant. I'm not ready to be a dad, and it's tearing me apart. I wonder if I'm doing the right thing. I hope I'll figure it out soon. Me and my now ex, 23F, have been together for a little over 3 months. I always made sure we used lots of precaution when having sex. She was on birth control and I always used condoms. I wanted to avoid a child. I have known for a long time that I do not want children. I find them annoying and they would severely limit my ability to do the things I enjoy, traveling, outdoor stuff, etc. Unfortunately for me, my ex didn't have her period when she was supposed to, and it turns out she's now pregnant. She came to me and told me she was pregnant. The first thing I did was suggest an abortion. We don't live in a state where it's legal, so I offered to pay for her flight and hotel and told her I'd be happy to come with her to get it done. I have a stable job and make good money, so it wouldn't be too much of a hit for me. She works as a receptionist and doesn't make a lot, so I figured it would be better for me to pay. That's when she told me she was hoping to keep it and that she wanted me to help her raise the kid as its father. I have no intention of being a father. Beyond just my dislike of children, I'm not ready for that. I made it very clear that I didn't want the baby, but she kept insisting that I'd have a change of heart once it's born and to just try it out. After a long exchange, I told her that if she intended to keep the baby, I would not act as a father. I broke up with her and told her that I would pay child support once it's born, but that I expect her to respect my wishes and keep the child away from me. Since then she's been frantically texting me, begging me to come back and telling me she'd forgive me. She sent me voicemails crying. It does hurt to see, but I haven't responded. The other day she texted me saying how she can't raise the kid alone and how I'm basically forcing her to get the abortion just by leaving. She called me an asshole, an abuser, and a sexist. She ended the text begging me to talk again. I certainly feel shitty. I really liked her and we had a good relationship before this, but I just don't want to be a father. I'm already bitter about the fact that I'll have to pay child support for 18 years, which will somewhat limit me financially. I also feel it isn't right for a parent who doesn't want their child to be involved. I just end up taking that pent-up anger and bitterness out on the child who is ultimately innocent, which I feel isn't right. With all this said, I come here to ask, Ida? I certainly feel like one, but I also stand by what I did. Clarifying edits. On the topic of a vasectomy, I tried. I met with a doctor last year and asked about getting one, but he refused and said every doctor he knows won't do it until you're at least 30. It's a conservative state, and while I dislike the politics, I was born and raised here, so I'm still attached to the state and have never felt the urge to leave. Someone said I should have flown elsewhere to get one, and I guess they're right, but I just didn't think about that. On the topic of birth control, I bought the condoms myself, so they were fine. Whenever we were done, I'd throw used condoms. I'm the dumpster, so I don't think she went dumpster diving. I asked her on our first date if she was taking birth control and she said yes. I took her for her word. Maybe foolish to just believe her, but if she was lying, she'd be the first I've met to lie about that. Most girls I've met are honest about it. I assumed she was on the pill since that's the main birth control I know, but maybe she was on something else that I'm not educated enough on. That being said, I'll follow your advice and lawyer up, plus get a paternity test. IDK how long that will take, but whenever I get it done I'll update here with results. Thank you for your judgments. I've been away for a bit, but I'm catching up and trying to read what I can. I'll be checking back periodically and replying to some people. All further feedback is appreciated. Update 1. I have hired one of the better family court lawyers in my state. She has someone representing her pro bono. It has been made clear to my ex and her representative that she is not to contact me personally and that all contact will go through my lawyer from now on. A paternity test is scheduled for next Wednesday. I don't know how long it will take to get results, but the test is happening. If the child is mine, we will go to court to determine child support payments and will set up the process for me to sign away my rights. Another clarifying edit. I was gone for a while, and while reading through some comments I have found a topic I'd like to clarify for anyone left who still checks here and cares. At the beginning I said I made sure to use lots of precautions. I had thought people would take away from that the idea that I had made my intention to not have kids clear at the beginning. Just wanted to make that clear. She told me she wasn't looking to have kids. I should have been more clear about this, I guess. I was under the assumption that she didn't want kids, which is why I was blindsided by her change of heart once she was actually pregnant. I understand it happens, feeling change or whatever, but for me it was a big shock. When I go to get the paternity test started, she will also have an ultrasound and we'll talk then. I'll update on Wednesday. BTW, the text will take a few days to process, so I'll also update with results. Relevant comments. Commentator asks about his family and their support. There's a lot to unpack here, so I'll try to go piece by piece. Obviously, what you've experienced is very difficult, so I'm sorry about that. I'm glad you found yourself. About my parents, yes, they want grandkids. They have been hounding me ever since I turned 20 about when I'm gonna give them grandkids. I've already told them I don't want kids and my sister is lesbian, so they're really disappointed at this point. If they found out about the kid and that I was leaving, they would be furious, so I'm just not telling them. About how I'll feel in the future, I honestly cannot say 100%. I know that right now I 100% don't want kids, and I'm going off that feeling to assume how I'll feel in the future will be the same. Everyone lives with some level of regret, so I've come to peace with the idea that if I end up regretting this, I'll just have to move on and live with that like everyone else. If for some reason I felt regret, I wouldn't try to contact the kid, I'd just keep it to myself and keep chugging along like usual. If the kid does find me one day, I'll just be honest depending on how I'm feeling. Either I was 25 and I didn't want kids and I still don't, sorry, or I was 25 and I thought I didn't want kids, I wasn't ready. It's been one of the biggest regrets of my life and I'm sorry depending on how I'm feeling, most likely the former. I don't know what gave you the impression that I've softened to the idea of having kids. I still firmly don't want kids. I just feel pity for the child, 'cause it isn't really their fault. I don't exactly feel good about leaving the child on a moral level, but on a personal level of what is best for me, I feel very confident in leaving. It's certainly a selfish decision, but I've been very upfront with the fact that I'm a selfish person. I feel bad about it, but I'm putting myself and my own personal needs first in this situation by doing what I think is best for me. Apprehensive_cactus, it's extremely unlikely then she would give up the baby once she's already got the child in her arms and goes through the process. It's extremely emotional and we're wired to take care of our young. Chances of her giving up the baby are like 2%. She really needs to stop hoping you're all going to be a happy family someday, because this is awful for her self-esteem. She can be happy as a single mother, even if it's very hard. Does she have a family willing to help? Her own parents? Motherhood is a huge adjustment and doing it with zero support is awful. PPD is not a joke. She can totally do this without you, but it would be a lot better if she had at least some support from her family. I don't know that much about her family, haven't met them, just heard bits and pieces. Apparently her dad has some drinking issues and her mom is pretty closed off. They live in a different city too. That's about the extent of what I know, but I doubt they'd be able to help her much. Alternative_at5613, I would consider locking down that pathway before she realizes it could lead to your mom. You know, blocking her before she sees your mom comment on a post and making everything go through a lawyer. By the sounds of it, if she makes contact with them, it sounds they definitely take her side in the matter. You definitely have contact with your ex and her child because your family will be involved. I'm not saying you need them, but I feel like within 18 years they'll know, especially considering how the at-home DNA test and programs are. Either way, that doesn't change my mind on you. You're making the right call here and now, balls in your ex's court. I don't know if you're considering moving cities, but if you should, increase the odds of you having no contact. I live near and work in a city of 1.5 million people and I still have made contact with people I never thought I would again. I don't have a Facebook, so my mom doesn't comment on my posts, but I'll take the advice and block my ex. I have a good job and I like my apartment a lot, so I don't plan on moving from my city. Even if I see them, I plan to get some sort of legal agreement signed through my lawyer prohibiting direct contact, so hopefully they just have to ignore me if they saw me. Update 2. Sorry for the lateness, but I got the test done and the results are in. The baby is a girl and is indeed mine. When I saw my ex, I had a talk with her. We talked about birth control, and she told me she was on birth control and had no intention of having children, but once she found out she was pregnant, she changed her mind. I believe her. She was hopeful that I would come around to that perspective, so I made it very clear that I will not be part of the child's life and gave her 3 options. Option 1, get an abortion in any state of her choosing and I'll pay for her to stay there for a week, so she could basically take a vacation to Hawaii or NYC or LA on my dime, but I need to come with and get confirmation that she had the abortion. Option 2, put the child up for adoption and I'll pay for all the medical expenses that come with having a child. Option 3, keep the child and I pay my court-ordered child support, sign away my parental rights, have my name taken off the birth certificate, and have absolutely zero involvement with her or the child beyond my monthly payments. It was a tough conversation and she didn't take it well. She ended up crying for a while. She kept telling me that I would be a loving and kind dad, asking me to try fatherhood and think about how well our relationship was going before this happened, and to imagine our future together with a daughter. I told her I'm still firmly against fatherhood and she was devastated. She refuses to get an abortion, but is scared to be a single mother at 23 even though she wants the child. She told me that if I'm with her during the birth, see and hold the child, but still feel nothing for the baby after all that, then she will consider adoption. She also said if I change my mind about fatherhood, she will be waiting with open arms to enjoy parenthood together as a loving family and would hope I'd propose. I have made it very clear I don't want any involvement. I'm not sure what I should do, since I would prefer for the baby to be put up for adoption rather than have to pay child support for 18 long years, but I also don't want to be around the baby at all or present during the birth. Advice is appreciated. All further updates will be posted to my account like this. Update 3. Finally back with another update. Over the past few days I've gotten a new influx of advice. Some of this advice has been helpful or interesting. Some really good ideas were given to me, so I set up lunch with my ex yesterday and we had a long and productive chat. It was the first time we had talked in over a month, all our communication had been through lawyers. I decided the best way to ensure the conversation was productive ways to set ground rules and make sure we were operating from reality. Both of us haven't been realistic. I told her that I was giving up on abortion or adoption. It was what I wanted, but I already know it isn't going to happen at this point. My ex wants the baby, I know she does, and I told her I know. I won't be bringing up abortion or adoption to her again, it just isn't worthwhile. I have to work within reality, and at this point that means under the assumption that she will keep the baby. I also told her it's time for her to give up on me. I made it very clear to her that I will not be getting back together with her no matter what, even if she aborts the baby. She will never have the happy family with me that she wants. I made it clear she needs to drop the idea because it won't happen and it makes it impossible to find any real solutions to this situation. She acknowledged that there will be no happy family between us. I think reality has finally set in for both of us at this point. Nobody is going to get what they want, so it's time to compromise. The new goal that we have agreed upon is this: provide my ex and our daughter with the support that they desperately need right now while also allowing me to have zero involvement with raising the child. In other words, I will not be involved in raising the child whatsoever, but will try to give my ex the resources she needs to make sure the child has a good life. I won't be in the delivery room and I will never see her, I will simply provide money. My ex has $25,000 in student debt that she needs to pay off. She is only making around $60,000/year from her job, and she will be a single mother, which means child expenses and such. By contrast, I only have around $10,000 in student debt left to pay off, and after a little over 2 years working at the company I'm at, I just got a promotion and significant pay raise, so I'm now making roughly $150,000/year. Additionally, there is plenty of room for further growth in my field, with income growth potential all the way up to $325,000/year, although that is still pretty far off in the future. I don't say any of this to brag, just to put our situations in perspective. I'll have all my debts paid off by the end of 2025, plus I've been setting aside money into a savings account and investment funds. What I'm trying to say is I have money and she doesn't, so I will be making up for my lack of presence with significant financial support. I would prefer to avoid court, so I worked with my ex to find a fair monetary support system. All of what comes next is a handshake agreement between the two of us. If someone has a problem, they can go to court and determine child support that way. We talked for a while about what a fair payment system would look like, and this is what we decided on. I will pay for all of my ex's medical expenses that come with her carrying the baby, including doctor's visits and hospital bills. When the baby is born, I will pay my ex $2,000/month in child support to pay for the child's expenses. This will leave my ex with breathing room and allow her to continue paying off her student debt. We don't have exact math, but our estimate we found using phone calculators was that it would probably take her between 6 to 8 more years to pay off all her student debt. Once she has paid all her debt off, the monthly child support payment will drop to $1,000/month. If my ex finds a man who she marries and takes on the role of a father to the child, then my child support payments will stop, since he will be able to provide an extra income stream. Additionally, I will create a savings account that my ex will be able to see. Starting the day the baby is born, I will deposit $500 into the account. I will then deposit $500 into the account on the first day of the month, every month, until the girl turns 18. At that point she will be given access to the account as a college fund. Based on the math we did, the account will have roughly $108,000 in it, not including interest. I don't know how much college will cost by then, but that should be a significant help for her to pay for college. If she decides not to go to college, I will empty the fund into my personal savings account, so she only gets the money if she attends college. The fund has another condition on it, but I'll get to that later. Beyond money, my ex and the child will need emotional support. This is where my lovely sister comes in. She and her wife love kids. They had been looking into adoption for a few months now. Based on another comment I got, which I cannot find anymore and it's driving me crazy, I think whoever wrote it deleted it, from a woman whose brother was in a similar situation. The woman decided to take on an active role and helped his ex raise the child of her own volition because she liked kids. Knowing my sister was already interested in raising a child with her wife, I reached out and asked her if she would be interested in helping my ex. She was very excited about the prospect if my ex wouldn't have her. I asked my ex what she thought and she said yes. My sister and her wife will act as a support system for my ex. When they have time, they will help my ex with things like babysitting, giving her any advice she needs, or just being there for her to talk to. They'll also be extra family for the child, helping make things like birthdays and holidays special. This is where the second condition for the college fund comes in. As I'm sure you've noticed, my sister is lesbian. I've gotten many questions asking why I don't want my parents involved with the child. Let me answer them. My sister came out at 14, from then on she was the scum of the earth in our house. My parents are extremely religious and very homophobic, so as soon as she came out they hated her. No more birthdays, no more Christmas, no more family dinners. They gave her the absolute bare minimum necessities to survive and then left her alone otherwise. Obviously it was extremely toxic, what they did was awful, and my sister has rightly gone no contact with them. My second condition for the college fund is that my ex cannot tell them about the child or let them meet her. What they want most in the world is grandchildren, and I will not give them that joy. My ex has my sister's help and support, so she doesn't need my parents. I made it clear that if I ever find out about her visiting them with the child there will be no college fund. Finally, I want to talk about me writing a letter. Based on advice from someone whose father came back and then left, they told me not to come back but to write a letter to my daughter as closure. I don't want to come back, so I thought it was a great idea. The letter will explain why I'm not around in this whole situation. I'm going to be truthful but try to also be gentle in the letter. The goal is to make it clear that I didn't leave because of a particular hatred towards her, but just because I never wanted to be a father in the first place. I'll also include something about how hard her mother tried to make me reconsider and how much her mother loves her. I'll end it by wishing her good luck in life. The letter will be officially notarized and will be signed by both me and my ex. When she turns 18, if she has questions about me and wants them answered, my ex will give her the letter. If the letter still can't satisfy her and she wants further answers, I've given permission for her to talk to me in person. I feel I owe it to her to answer her questions in person if that's what she needs for closure. My ex also felt strongly about wanting my name on the birth certificate, so I've agreed to that. In summary, my ex will keep the child, I will provide child support payments, I will provide a college fund on the condition that the child goes to college and my parents are never involved in this situation. My sister and her wife will help my ex by acting as an extra support system for her, and I will write a letter to my daughter explaining why I am not present that will be given to her only if she wants it as a way for her to gain closure. Full thing won't be posted in the comments, so I'll post it in chunks. BTW, this will likely be my last update, things are mostly figured out. Thank you for all the advice and help. Also, for anyone who hasn't seen it, I'll be getting a vasectomy in Colorado in February 2024. I'd already said so, but I'll put it here too. Ops text below the screenshots. I wrote out this whole update on Reddit and was given error messages saying it couldn't be posted, so I copy and pasted it and then screenshot it. Sorry it's inconvenient, but this is the only way I could post this. I've split the paragraphs up and they are in order, so hopefully it isn't too annoying to read. I'll also post the full text in the comments if Reddit will allow me to. Update 4. Happy holidays to everyone, hope you're having a nice winter. Short and boring update. I got our terms from Update 3 written up into a contract and X is signed. Some minor changes have been made which I will outline. Some things weren't legally enforceable, so those have remained part of a handshake agreement. The basic contract is I have 0 visitation rights and will never be allowed visitation rights, but X also has make active efforts to keep the child away from me. I will be paying for her medical care during the pregnancy process. We decided to adjust the payment system. I will be paying 1.5K/month in child support and an additional 500 will be added in support for every 50K my salary increases by, currently 150K, capping out at 500K for a max support payment of 5K/month. The handshake part of the agreement is the college fund in exchange for not notifying my parents of their granddaughter's existence. The college fund will be monitored by my sister. I deposit $500 per month until the kid turns 18. Then the fund is made available to her if she is going to college or trade school. If she decides to forego higher education, she will instead receive a flat sum of 27K, roughly 1/4 of the total fund, and the remainder of the fund will go back to me. We scrapped the idea of a letter. If she wants to see me when she's 18, she'll have to come find me. I decided it's best to make it slightly higher barrier to finding me. My sister will still be involved in helping X with her parenting of the child, and they have chosen to make the girl aware that my sister is her aunt. Shit is pretty much settled. X is pretty far into pregnancy at this point and everything is worked out. Sorry to disappoint everyone who still wanted me to step up and be a present father, that is never happening. Relevant comments. Commentator asks about the role Oop's sister will be doing in the entire situation and the parental rights, boundaries, and contacts with the X/the child's mother. Oop, sister isn't a middleman, she won't be giving me any information about the kid because she knows I don't want to hear it. She can be as involved or uninvolved as she wants, but when we are spending together we won't talk about the kid. I'm paying her because it's either this contract or I go to court for child support, and it's much easier to set it up through a contract than it is to do it through court, plus I feel I got decently favorable terms. I guess I could flee the country if I really didn't want to pay, but that's such a pain in the ass. I'm gonna sign away my parental rights, but that really means nothing. In my state you still have to do child support if you sign your rights away. It's more just a symbolic thing to make sure I don't have to ever have custody. Sometimes courts can force a father who doesn't sign his rights away to take custody in certain situations. Also makes it so that if something happens to my ex the kid won't fall to me. X's ultimate goal is a happy family, so if she can find a guy she likes the goal is to marry him. If he wants to he can adopt the child, that's gonna be his choice. If he adopts her then my payments cease but the handshake agreement for the college fund continues. If he doesn't adopt her the funds continue. Beyond monthly payments I will have zero contact with my ex. I don't plan on showing my financials to anyone I date in the future. If I find someone I'd want to marry then I'd come out and say what is going on, but I don't plan on disclosing it until very late into relationships. If it's a deal breaker and it ends the relationship then I'll find someone else. IDK what I'll say if she finds me. I'd hope she never feels the need. If she does I'll probably just be straight up and tell her I never wanted kids to begin with. It's nothing against her specifically, I was just against the idea of ever having kids. I will not remain in contact with her if she comes to visit. The plan would be that she can talk or vent or ask as many questions as she wants and then move on for good. I don't want a sustained relationship, so it's gonna be a one-time thing. Crolla, if the girl knows your sister is her aunt, she will quickly figure out you are probably her dad once she's online. Oop, hopefully my ex will be smart enough to know that kids don't belong on social media. I wasn't given a phone till I was 13 and it had heavy restrictions. I wasn't able to make any social media accounts until I was 18. For as annoying and conservative as my parents were, this was one of the very few things they ever did right. Children don't belong on social media until they are 18. If my ex doesn't raise the kid like this that's fine, but my sister and I have already talked about this. The plan is that once she gets a social media account my sister will share it with me and I'll block her immediately so she can't contact me through social media.